Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time and hearing me out. My name is Kirsten Rushlow, and I am the voice of Hats. And this is podcast number 1, and I'm calling it my step 1 to living a happier life. The first thing that we need to understand is in life, all of us share struggles. We all have our own story of suffering, good, bad. What we don't understand is where the suffering came from, why it came in the first place, and what do we need to do in order to change our circumstance in life as we feel in the moment. First of all, we need to know how it is that we are feeling in the moment. Are we sad, stressed, busy? There's just so much going on. Your mind just doesn't seem to stop because you're just going, go, go, go. Then at the end of it, you sit back and you try to relax. And maybe that's where the problems begin that you feel. When you sit back and you start paying attention more so to your thoughts. So you've just had your day, and it's been a crazy day. And at the end of it, you're left with your thoughts. And that is exactly where our own personal suffering comes from. As hard as that may be to accept or to understand now, that is understanding that is necessary to make the first step of learning how to live a happy life. First, you need to understand what that means. It's human nature to question. It's human nature to think. We are all the same. Humans. We all have eyes, nose. Obviously, there are some differences. But we all work the same. Our brains did not learn how to make our organs function. It happens. It just happens. So what is different between each of us? When we think about when we were little, we were so innocent. All of us. Children are so innocent. And like little sponges, their brains absorb and learn whatever is surrounding them. They absorb whatever it may be. They accept it until they are taught how to think of certain things or how to feel with certain attachments to having certain things brought into their life. We all do our best as parents in teaching, and over the years, something's happened where we have forgotten, or maybe we just simply don't know how. Maybe it's not that we've forgotten, maybe we just have really never known how to teach our children a thought process. A thought process that doesn't involve stress, that doesn't involve pain or sadness, but rather a thought process that engages love and trust and acceptance and appreciation. Because you can't have any of that if you can't first appreciate exactly who and what you are now, and who and what, or rather the what happenings of your past life, what's happened to you up until now, is all part of your story. It is all part of your own personal thought process of what you learned through your parents, through generations, through their love, their good, their bad. The way to move out of the past, and I don't mean to jump into the future, but to be happy in life is to not think about the past. but to accept it first as life the way it was meant to be, good and bad. Automatically, you might find yourself with that thought, a little voice in your head saying, well, that can't be. I've had some serious shit happen to me, and I'm sure it could not have been purposeful. It should not have happened to me. Or maybe the little voice is saying, this is crazy. Either way, you're here and you're hearing this. So that tells me there's a reason for that. And that's enough of a reason. It doesn't matter what brought you here in the past, from the past. The only thing that matters is now. So when we learn to appreciate what we have now, where we are in our life now, what physically surrounds us, which could be your family, your work, wherever you are, in your kitchen. This is your life. When you appreciate and are thankful for everything you have, rather than thinking you are not good enough or not at a good enough spot in your life, you haven't achieved enough, or you don't have enough money. You're stressed because you struggle to pay your bills, although you work so hard. So for these reasons of the struggles, which are the struggles themselves, are the very reasons we have a hard time believing that everything we endure was meant to be. Only until, however, we learn how to change the situation of the now, which means first accept what is and what has been. Be aware of where you are and be thankful. Appreciate what you do have. And be aware that you do have the thoughts that creep into your head. We all do. It's human nature, and we're going to call it the ego. The ego that gives us the thoughts that attach emotion to the thoughts, that allow us to become stressed or sad. So once we can accept this and be aware of our thoughts, when you recognize your thought and the attachment the thought has to your emotion, that is when you can say to yourself, okay, yes, here is the thought. There is the ego. And this is the thought of that ego now. And we're not going to think about that right now. Right now, we are going to turn off the thinking brain and bring our focus inside to be quiet, to turn off the ego, to maintain silence, and then allow the true voice of your being, the I in you, the higher being, the inner light, the peace. We all have it. We just need to learn how to tap into it, how to be, just be, how to learn how to just be. There are many tools to help people to reach this state of mind. Yoga helps, meditation, affirmations, they all help. They are all reminders. The first thing we need to understand as well is it takes practice. So don't beat yourself up. Remember, there is no judgment. There is no judgment. But that begins with you. If you are living in a world of judgment where you judge yourself, your own ability, I can't do that. There's no way. It's not for me. When you live with that sort of judgment and negativity towards yourself, then how are you feeling or judging other people? I'm thinking probably worse. And it becomes a vicious cycle. It becomes a competition in some areas and with some people, some relationships, a competition of the ego. Which can turn anything into an argument. You think your headache is bad, mine is 10 times worse. You don't know how bad I've had it. You think you've had a bad day. I've had it so much worse. This sort of thing of talking and just thinking and talking for the sake of doing exactly that. We have forgotten. Many of us haven't learned how to listen and to be there for the people who are around you. If you are unable to listen with full awareness in that moment and your mind is thinking something else, your ego is, thinking of something to say back, or whether you feel it's a clever remark or whatever the case may be. If this is the thought process, then simply you're not listening. Being aware that you're not listening is another ego thing. The ego doesn't like to hear that very much. I struggled with that, especially from my children. How was it possible? My ego felt, or would try to tell me all the time, how is it possible that I'm not listening to you? To my kids. I must be listening because I understand. I understand why you are upset for the reasons that you are. And therefore, my ego would say, because I understand, you don't need to say anymore. So, again, a little recap for the step 1 to living a happier life. So the appreciation of where we are with what we have in life now. To appreciate where we came from, what that involved, the what that happened, to appreciate the past for what it was, what it is, which is the past, and it's done. And it's brought you here. So with knowing that and appreciating what you have, appreciating the what that you have, accepting the where it came from, and letting that go. You don't have to forget. That's not what I mean. But you don't need to think about it anymore. You can just let it be and just accept it's brought you here. And with the appreciation of the here, being thankful for everything that surrounds you in your life, the love that touches you, the abundance. When you absorb that feeling of appreciation, that is when you start to feel happier. That is when you are able to see that you can be happy. You can see how your thoughts arise. And you will pay attention to it more often. And the more you do, and the more you bring yourself to the appreciation and being thankful, it just starts getting easier. It's easier to be thankful and to be in the present moment only when you allow yourself the acceptance of the thoughts that you have about the past, of the past, and how these thoughts attach themselves to emotions of fear, loneliness, just negative, anything that's lacking will show up when you listen to the ego, anything negative. So if you're ever wondering, well, how do I know then if this is my ego or if this is the good voice, so to speak? Well, the ego is always negative. That is one sign. So if you're feeling sad, something's going on with your ego. Turn it off, send it away, and bring your awareness back to you in the present moment. Take a breath to help you clear the thoughts away. Accept what is and be thankful, one step at a time. The more you practice, the easier it will be. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful evening.